Gaming markets are all about patience, and let's hope my patience pays off this time at Nottingham Gaming Market.
Game Pickups! Building the Games Room! Road Trips! Live Game Hunting!
But again, folks, welcome back to a very special episode. That's because for the first time ever today, we are headed to Nottingham Gaming Market. And I have been to multiple gaming markets all around the UK, and I know one thing for sure. Gaming markets are all about patience. You cannot play your cards too soon. You have to be patient and hold out for those games you just never see and add something truly amazing to your collection. Gaming markets can be very overwhelming. You are going to see a lot of games, and a lot of games you may have never seen before, and this is why patience is important at gaming markets. You have to hold out for that one or two games you have never seen before and may never see again. So let's just hope this time my patience pays off at Nottingham Gaming Market. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week, and I really want you folks along for the ride. Now, let's hit the road bright and early for Nottingham Gaming Market. Here we go then, 11 AM sharp at Nottingham Gaming Market for early bird entry, and I do mean 11 AM sharp. This was at a sports centre, and there was a clock on the wall of the swimming pool, and we were let in at 11 AM exactly, and this was the biggest surprise about Nottingham Gaming Market. Look at all the space here. Some of these gaming markets can be very claustrophobic, and this was a very pleasant surprise. As you can see here, me and my good friend PS2 Mini Games were some of the very first people through the door. And it was just such a breath of fresh air. Quite literally, this building also had aircon. There was space, there was fresh air. This was going to be a very good gaming market. But I had to be patient. I had a finite budget, and I had to not spend my money too early. We were going to hold out until I found that item, or those 2 or 3 items that I knew I was never going to see again. And I had to cross my fingers and my toes and hope that my patience pays off here at Nottingham Gaming Market. It didn't take long to find our first find of the day, Splatterhouse here for the Xbox 360, but unfortunately this did not have a manual, so it's a pass from me. But our first cool find of many here in Nottingham. Whenever I go to any gaming market, I'm mainly looking for retro games. That's because these are the best places to hunt for the best retro, especially when it comes to, say, the Mega Drive, Master System, NES, SNES, and even the N64. And of course, the most coveted of items at these gaming markets, Nintendo Cardboard. A cool game here, but like I said, it's early doors. Let's keep hunting. What I love about gaming markets like Nottingham Gaming Market is the selection of games you are going to see from every single console. PlayStation 1 to 5, Sega Mega Drive, Master System, Saturn, Dreamcast, NES, SNES, N64, you name it, you will probably find it at one of these gaming markets, as well as things you will find nowhere else, such as this right here, this boxed Game Genie. I spent absolutely ages searching for a Mega Drive Game Genie. I still haven't managed to find one boxed, but they're such a zeitgeist item for myself. Being able to go back and play games with cheats, infinite lives, invincibility, it just changed the game literally back in the day, in an era where gaming was so much harder. When I'm at gaming markets, I'm always specifically looking for boxed items. Be that games, consoles, or accessories, because I just love the entire aesthetic of a boxed game, console, or accessory. That real CIB feeling. And here is one that's been missing from my collection for a very long while, Duke Nukem 64. But it is a fairly common game. And like I said, we are looking for the rare, the weird, the wonderful, and the uncommon here at Nottingham Gaming Market, such as Mega CD games. I am a fairly avid collector for the Mega CD, but this is just something you don't see every day. But even some of these Mega CD games, such as Sherlock Holmes and Echo the Dolphin, are quite common, so our hunt for that elusive item continues. Since the video game retro market in Norwich a week before, I'd been on a bit of a boxed N64 kick, and I was once again excited to find this game, Blues Brothers 2000, until I realised it was from the exact same seller I had seen a week before in Norwich, so I did pass. If you've seen that episode, you will know why, but I'm really on the lookout for boxed N64 games which are missing from my collection at the moment. It's really reignited that collecting fire. As well as boxed N64 games, I'm also getting more tempted by console variants, especially as these seem to be getting cheaper and cheaper, and some of these fantastic coloured N64s are absolutely beautiful, and honestly, if I'd had more money today, this one could have been coming home with me. I'm always looking to boost my Mega Drive collection, and this is a game I've been looking for a very long while, but I just can't seem to find a copy of Splatterhouse 2 with the manual. I don't know what it is about Mega Drive games. I'm guessing it's because CX now differentiates between with and without manual. It's getting harder and harder to find these games CIB, which is, as a collector, kind of annoying. But this is a big one right here. And unfortunately, I think these were the NTSC releases of both of these games. I could be wrong, but definitely SNES games with a high price tag. As well as TMNT games, I'm always on the lookout for both WWE and WWF games, especially in the box. I have a lot of these games for the NES and the SNES loose, but not CIB. So these are definitely something I'm keeping an eye out for, because one day I'll have every wrestling game ever made. Now this is a big one right here, this Mega Drive 2 VR Racing boxed console variant. We talked about console variants earlier, and this one is super duper cool and something I have never ever seen before. And check this out right here, the Sega Multi-Mega. Sticking with the Sega theme, next up we're off to the Saw Thumbs store and some more Mega CD games. And one of the best things I love about Saw Thumbs is that they always put directly on the front of the box if it has a manual or not. When you are hunting at gaming markets like this, it makes it so much easier knowing if a game comes with or without a manual. And you can see at the back here, Saw Thumbs had some very heavy hitters. Speaking of heavy hitters, I was going through some boxed Nintendo cardboards here. You can see some fairly common titles here, but then we have Turtles in Time. Without a shadow of a doubt, one of my most wanted games, but oh my, does it come with a high price tag. And when the time comes that I finally pick up a copy of that game, I am aiming for mint. It is one of my most wanted games, and when I get it, it will be worth it. Moving on, and so far we hadn't found anything which I physically needed for my collection. That one item I just knew I couldn't leave behind until now. These two games right here were very tempting. CIB Game Boy TMNT games, they're high on the list. Let me explain what I mean when I say these games are high on my list. What I will do at the start of any gaming market is try and go round most of, if not all of the gaming market before I make a decision on my first or maybe only purchases. I get terrible FOMO at these gaming markets, and I have a limited budget, which means if I spend that budget too early, I will not have any budget for later on, and I'm always worried I'm going to find something later on which I wished I'd saved my money for. Yes, this is a very risky tactic, as of course you might find something cool, go back to pick it up later, and it's gone. But that's what we are doing here today, and hopefully the patience pays off. But carrying on, there were some very cool CIB Jaguar games here. And you can see at the back here, a CIB Jaguar console, one of the most beautiful consoles of all time. This is a game I've been looking for a while, mainly because I recently picked this up for the Sega 32X. Virtua Racing, this time for the Mega Drive. And you can see this one has a really strange cartridge. I'm not sure why it has a different cartridge to most other Mega Drive games, so if you know, let me know in the comments down below. Now, I was going to pick this up. It did have a little bit of damage to the label, so I did pass, but definitely one I'm after. Next up, another Mega Drive classic, sorely missing from my collection, NBA Jam. But this is the tournament edition, which is probably the optimal way to play this game. But once again, sadly, this one did have a little bit of damage, and also, it seemingly had the Genesis Genesis car and manual. I didn't think this looked right, so I did pass, but let me know if I missed out in the comments down below. Moving on, and we did have some more Mega CD games, this time Prince of Persia. Pretty good condition, I think it was complete with the manual, but it's a fairly common game, so I did pass for now. Now, this stall behind had some real bangers, including the Killer Instinct and F-Zero double pack for the SNES. A very, very rare game, and one I'd love to add to the collection one day, but it is a very, very expensive game. Moving on to the other side of the stall, as you can see, once again, lots of heavy hitters here. And remember, sometimes at the gaming market you will be paying a premium for these games, but like I've said multiple times, this is the best place to find the games you find nowhere else. It seemed that the theme of today was definitely Mega Drive games, which I'm sorely missing for my collection, such as this game right here, Fatal Fury. Another one I really need to add to my collection at some point soon, but a fairly common game. So once again, I did pass on this one. We were coming to around the halfway point here at the Nottingham Gaming Market, and so far I hadn't found anything, but I knew what I was looking for was still out there. This is another thing I love about gaming markets, a variety of games you see. Like, look at these two absolutely incredible collector's editions here for the Switch. That Dead Cells one was absolutely beautiful. And also import games. There were some very, very rare Xbox 360 games here. And I think it's import games like these ones which in the future are going to get very, very, very expensive. And this store had some really nice bits, including a Sega 32X and this right here, which I was very tempted by, House of the Dead complete with a gun for the Dreamcast for £100. I did decide to pass on that Dreamcast game because I do have a copy of the game and the gun separately, but I wish I hadn't passed on this game right here, Armorines for the PlayStation 1, because 20 quid was a really good price for this PlayStation 1 game I've never seen before. I knew this game was released for the Game Boy and the N64, but I never knew it got a PlayStation 1 release. There was a stack of PS1 games here, probably more hidden bangers, but time was getting on. I still hadn't managed to find that must-have item. I am a sucker for light guns, and this is without a shadow of a doubt one of my favourite light guns of all time, the Justifier for the Mega Drive, but I'm after a boxed copy of this iconic light gun. And speaking of box copies, we are back on some vintage Nintendo cardboard and some really nice SNES games here, but I am picky when it comes to my SNES games. There was nothing I really needed here. ECW for the N64 would have been tempting, but it was a little bit rough, so I did pass. As if I'm aiming for boxed, I'm aiming for mint. Now this is a random one, but a game I haven't thought about in years, Buster Groove for the PlayStation 1. I think the only time I ever played this game was on a demo, but it was such a good demo. It's a dance game, but honestly, it's definitely a hidden gem. This box right here was the biggest temptation so far of the day, because this had a trio of SNES games I need for my collection. So first up, Turtles Tournament Fighter, an absolutely fantastic one-on-one 2D beat-em-up for the SNES in that classic silver Konami box. Then, quite possibly the most iconic silver box game for the SNES, Castlevania 4. Again, a game I would love to add to the collection. And finally, the top of my list of wants for the SNES at the moment, Super Empire Strikes Back. But unfortunately, this one was a little bit damaged. It doesn't show up very obvious on the camera, but these three games were very tempting. Those three SNES games were on the top of my list of potential pickups so far here today at Nottingham Gaming Market. But here's the thing, they are not very rare games. They are fairly common. And remember, today we are looking for something which I've never seen before. That one kind of hurt a bit. Dungeons and Dragons for the Mega Drive, which I picked up a week before at Norwich Gaming Market for about £10 more, but that's the thing. Sometimes when at the gaming market, you just pick something up because you hadn't seen it before. And coming up is something I've never seen before. This strange copy, once again, of Super Empire Strikes Back for the SNES, but this was in more of a VHS shaped box. I'll put a normal SNES game next to this to compare. If anyone has any information about this Empire Strikes Back, let me know in the comments down below. I did leave this one behind because the box was a little bit rough, but maybe I should have picked this one up. Very strange items, and honestly, something very, very cool to see here at Nottingham Gaming Market. These were also very cool to see. These modded backlit Game Boys. Now, these were a thing of absolute beauty. If you ever played a Game Boy back in the day, you're an OG player, you will know that playing these in any kind of light other than very good light was a nightmare. So these backlit ones were absolutely breathtaking to see here. Moving on, and this was pretty interesting to see, this slipcase of 3 Nintendo Switch games from Limited Run. Now, I think only one of these had the actual game. It's a trilogy of games I'm not really familiar with, so I did pass, but it's cool to see some Limited Run game stuff here. Now, I was very tempted to pick this up because this was in absolutely fantastic condition. And as I said, I've been bitten recently by the N64 boxed bug. Lylat Wars for the N64. This was complete with the game and the Rumble Pack, which came pre-packaged with this game when it first released. But this manual was not in English, so I did decide to pass. And honestly, sadly, it is a fairly common game to find. This console right here is top of my hit list console-wise at the moment. The Sega Mega Drive 32X. I've started collecting games for this console, but I'm yet to pick up the actual console. These were really interesting. These kind of gaming watches, the Outrun one especially was really nice. I've picked up a few of these over the years. They are really cool. And for me, I think they are just the definition of geek chic. Today, for me, this was definitely one of the very best stalls. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of the stall, but it had some really nice bits, including a really good selection of Sega Saturn games. And honestly, I'm seeing Sega Saturn games less and less in the wild. I've got a pretty small collection for this console, but it is comprehensive. I have most of the games I want for this console, but it's cool to see more. Recently then, I've been collecting for the Sega 32X, but I have only found 3 games so far. So will this game right here, Virtua Fighter, be my 4th game in my 32X collection? Now here is the thing, my 32X boxed complete collection so far, every single game is mint. And this one had a little bit of damage, so I did pass. And thankfully, I passed so I could pick this game up. Our first pickup of the day is for the Nintendo GameCube, Killer 7. This is a game I've been looking for in the wild for literally years, and super happy to finally find a copy. There we have it then. Our first find of the day was for the Nintendo GameCube, which honestly came as quite a surprise, as I have, again, like I've said for many consoles, around 95% of the games that I want for that console. So to be able to find a game I'm still looking for this deep into my collecting for the console was a real treat. And honestly, it was about 3/4 of the way through the gaming market by this time, so I was starting to worry I wasn't going to find that item I was specifically looking for. But fear not, we still have some budget left, and I still have a feeling that we're going to find something super cool here at Nottingham Gaming Market. Some really nice Dreamcast stuff here, including that custom shell, which honestly I am in the market for. I have a Dreamcast which is essentially bright yellow, and one day I'd love to reskin it. And who knows, maybe a purple skin like that one. Some really cool bits here, but the hunt continues. This next store was one of the very first stores you came to when you entered the gaming market, so I decided to leave this one to last as it was super busy all the way through, and they had some items which I have never ever seen before. Like, I have no idea what this Sega console is right here. So many random consoles. So let me know in the comments down below if you know what this Sega SG-1002 is. I have no idea. This stall had so many items which either I'd never seen before or were super rare. Like this Mega CD wallet right here for storing Sega Mega CD games. A lot of people use these for demos, but it wasn't just Sega Mega CD. There was also a very good selection of Sega 32X games. And like I said, I am super in the market for these. But I was making my way along when I spotted this Turtles Tournament Fighters, this time for the Sega Mega Drive. This was boxed and complete, and this is a game which you do not see very often. I see the SNES version of this game fairly often, but I've never ever seen the Mega Drive version of this game boxed and complete. And as a Turtles fan, I just knew I had to take this opportunity and buy this game while I can. This game is never in stock in CEX, so I knew I had one shot and one opportunity, and some difficult decisions had to be made. This stall, like I said, had some incredibly rare games, including one of the biggest and best selections of Sega Mega CD games I have ever seen, including some titles such as this one right here, Dungeon 2, which I've been looking for a very long while. But I could order a copy of that game or this game, Dungeons and Dragons, I Had a Beholder, from CEX. I would not be able to order a copy of Turtles Tournament Fighters simply because it has never been in stock in CEX. I've had a stock alert for ages. I had to pass on some games, but I'd found the game I'd been looking for all day. A game that I hadn't been able to find anywhere else. And also Killer 7 for the GameCube. Today had been a success. My patience had paid off, and Nottingham Gaming Market had been a success. My patience had paid off. I'd managed to add not one, but two god-tier games to my game collection here at Nottingham Gaming Market. And it goes to show it is worth hanging on and waiting to find those must-have games for your collection. But now it was time to peruse at my leisure. I still had a little bit of money to play with, so if I found something cool, I was still happy to pick up a couple of small items for the collection. But it had just passed 12 o'clock here at Nottingham Gaming Market, and it was starting to get busier. Like I said earlier, we had early bird entry and we had 1 hour before general entry began. But fair play to Nottingham Gaming Market. Even with early bird entry, it was still quieter than most of the gaming markets I've ever been to, and there was a lot of space to peruse. It didn't feel packed like so many gaming markets have done before. Even when the doors did open for general entry at 12 o'clock, it still felt like there was space to hunt for games, because honestly, sometimes these gaming markets can be a real nightmare with overcrowding, and the one in, one out system here at Nottingham Gaming Market was absolutely fantastic, and something which I hope we continue to see at gaming markets all around the UK. As I've said before, these can be overwhelming, and honestly today, Nottingham was simply a pleasure. There we have it then, folks. That was Nottingham Gaming Market. Without a shadow of a doubt, one of my favourite gaming markets I've ever been to. And with so little left of 2024, it may well end up being my favourite gaming market of the year. Not just because I managed to pick up not one, but two incredible items for my collection, just because it was ran so incredibly well. And here's the thing to remember about gaming markets. You can't take everything home, and sadly this time I did have to leave this Mega Drive console variant behind, but I do know, thanks to another fellow YouTuber, that this has gone to a good home. And this is the thing about hunting at gaming markets. It's not just about picking up games for your collection, it's about the people you meet along the way. I met so many fans of the channel, so many cool people to talk to. It was great to meet up with fellow YouTubers such as Retro Ghetto, to finally meet them in the flesh, and of course to have spent the whole day with one of my best friends in the world, PS2 Mini Games. It had been an absolutely incredible day. Patience had paid off, and honestly, it had been the perfect game hunt. Let's go to the pickups. Here we are then, back in the games room, and first things first, Nottingham Gaming Market was absolutely incredible. It was without a shadow of a doubt one of the best gaming markets I have ever been to, and I saw so many cool things while I was there. So many games I've never seen before, and thankfully I can say this time patience has paid off, and we had managed to add two absolutely incredible items to my collection. Our first pickup is literally the definition of patience. If you have been a fan of the channel for a very long while, then you will remember at the start of 2022, I set myself a challenge. The 20 in 2022 challenge. The top 20 games which I wanted to add to my collection over the course of 2022. And spoiler alert, I managed to find 18 of these games over time. And finally, here in 2024, I've finally managed to cross another one of these games off the list with this game right here, Killer 7 for the Nintendo GameCube. This is a game I've wanted to play for years. I've owned it on the PlayStation 2 for a very long while, but I've held out for this version right here, which is supposedly the definitive way to play this absolute masterpiece. And this is in absolutely incredible condition. Now, with my GameCube collection, I have a good 90% of the games which I want for the GameCube. And this was one which has just eluded me for so long. And I cannot believe in 2024 my patience has finally paid off and we can add this one to my GameCube collection. Here is a common misconception that a lot of people have about gaming markets. Gaming markets do not necessarily need to be expensive. I managed to pick up this game for £40. Yes, I had to haggle, but I managed to get this game £2 cheaper than it would have been to buy this game from CEX, especially if I played the CEX lottery and ordered this game online. With postage, it would have cost me more to buy this game in CEX. So it goes to show gaming markets don't necessarily need to be expensive. Which brings us on to our final pickup from Nottingham Gaming Market. And once again, a game which I've been looking for a very long while. And some tough decisions, like I said, had to be made. I saw some Mega CD games you do not see every day. But these were games that theoretically I could jump on the CX website and order. But this game right here, at least complete with the manual as of now, and I've had a stock alert set up for this game for a very long while, is seemingly never in stock at CX. And that is this game right here, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles Tournament Fighters for the Sega Mega Drive. And I paid £50 for this game. But this is just a game I have never seen complete. There are very few copies of this game complete on eBay. It just seems to be a very hard game to find. And this is the definition of what I'm looking for at gaming markets. Just the games I seemingly cannot find anywhere else. And I knew as soon as I saw this game and confirmed it was complete with the manual, it was coming home with me. And once again, this game right here goes to disprove the notion that gaming markets have to be expensive. Once again, I have paid less than the CEX price for this game, box and complete. Not that I can even buy this game from CEX because it is permanently seemingly out of stock. And like I said, this is the definition of what I'm hunting for when I'm hunting at gaming markets. There we have it then, folks. That was Nottingham Gaming Market. It goes to show patience pays off. I bided my time and found without a shadow of a doubt 2 bona fide bangers which seemingly I couldn't find anywhere else to add to the collection. And this is what I love about gaming markets. These are the places you find grail items like this for your collection. But sadly, that was my final gaming market for 2024. But fear not, my calendar is already filling up, and trust me, I'll be hitting up a lot of gaming markets over the course of 2025. So if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, keep playing the game. See you soon!